What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Watchtower podcast, the Non-Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower podcast. This is episode 226, Eyes Laid Shut. Welcome back. We had a little break there on Saturday, and I thought I would just give you guys a break from my face. Everybody needs a break from my face. No, but yeah, so welcome back in. Glad to be back. Glad we're here, and hopefully y'all had a good weekend and all that stuff. But yeah, this is what we do on Tuesdays and Saturdays. If this is your first time here, is we get together and we watch for the signs of the return of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We don't know exactly when he's going to come, but we will know the season. How will we know the season? Well, we will see the convergence of end time signs. What does that mean? We'll be seeing things of significance that will become prophetic events post-rapture into the day of the Lord, as well as we are witnessing the construction of the Antichrist beast system in front of our very eyes, which of course will be turned on post-rapture into the day of the Lord. And so we're watching all these things happen. We're seeing just how close this world is to absolutely exploding. Just every day, every hour, there's something else going on. Depending on which area you're looking, it's just everywhere things are getting ready to explode. And so I am ready to go home. I'm absolutely ready to go home. That's for sure. But yeah, so episode 226, Eyes Lied Shut. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is we're going to be looking at some technology stuff that is unraveling. That's part of the building of this beast system, ultimately. And we got some stuff when it comes to DARPA. They're working on not only building new secure communication networks, but they're also trying to figure out new ways of detecting them. And I'll explain why that's kind of important as we go along, and how that has to do with finding those outlier groups out there. We're also going to be taking a look at what's going on when it comes to the DHS wanting, if they're not already, we'll talk about that, to use facial recognition on children, immigrant children at the border, in order to keep track as they age. And I'll give you a spoiler warning. This stuff's already happening. But ultimately, we can kind of look at that and see what they're talking about and how it's really being used today, because there's a lot more going on. And then we'll be looking at what's going on when it comes to AI and the reality of replacing humans in more ways than not. And ultimately, with the eyes lied shut, this idea of we truly cannot believe our own eyes at this point. We talk about this often, where it's like, well, AI is getting so good, we don't know what's real and what's not. And then we continue to still just navigate the news world like we've always have been, even though the deception of the AI images and writings and videos and all these things are getting worse. We're still just walking around like we have been the whole time, without really even realizing that we can't believe our own eyes anymore. The saying of seeing is believing and stuff like that. Well, that is a giant lie, I'll tell you what. So it's going to be one of those things where our eyes are lied shut, where everything in front of our eyes, we can't believe what's going on. It's just, we got to be able to make sure that we can make that change, adapt to the situation that we're in right now, where just because there's a video, and just because it looks real, and just because it fits with what we think it fits, doesn't necessarily mean it's real. So we got to make sure that we're adapting to our new surroundings and situations. And it's just, again, the conversation of deception just continues to get, it's bananas. It's bananas. It's bonkers. It's crazy. It's whatever you want to call it. Anyways, but yeah, so welcome back. Glad you guys are here. Thank you for being here and joining me today. And yeah, let's see what you guys are up to. See how y'all are doing. Okay, I got to try and get myself back into the swing of things. You take one night off and all of a sudden you forget how to do everything. It's crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and I don't know. We'll start here. Diane Stevenson. I think that's it. Stevenson or Stevenson. Sorry, you know me in pronunciation. Hip hop anonymous. This has been watched for a while. Very straight up. Well, thank you. I try to be a straight shooter. Sorry, man. We got all the quips and stuff coming in tonight. I try to be as straight shooting as possible and stuff like that. It's amazing. No, it's just some people don't like that, but I think that's the only way we can operate. But thank you for being here, Diane, and hopefully you're having a good week. Thank you for being here. Caterlyn is here. She's passing out the cookies. So if you guys need a cookie or 12, we don't judge. Caterlyn, she's got the cookies in the back. Thanks for being here. Nancy West is here as well. The wrench wench. Oh my goodness. There's a callback right there. Good to see you, Nancy. Thanks for being here. Not of this world is here. I'm trying not to melt. 102 degrees over here today. Crazy. Kathleen is here as well. Good to see you, Kathleen. Thanks for being here, and hopefully you're having a good day. We got Jason Gaza about to go boom. Yeah. If it's not already going boom, there's a lot of booms going on right now, but we're looking for the big boom. The big boom that's going to take us out of here. Good to see you, Jason. Thanks for being here, man. Let's see here. Kathy B is here. Kathy B, did you get it? You got a picture, right? Because you didn't have a picture before, I don't think. Unless this is a different Kathy B, then, man, we really got all the Kathys up here. Good to see you, Kathy. Thanks for being here. What's going on, brother? Please be nice to my tools, everybody. They do their best. I try to keep them shiny. We got Terry Myers. Hello. Good to see you, Terry. Thanks for being here. And glad you could spend, or you're choosing. Hopefully nobody's forcing you to spend your evening here, but if you're choosing to spend your evening here, welcome in. Glad you're here. Vindog, what's going on, brother? Who let you out of the kennel, man? You're not supposed to be out of the kennel. Who let the dogs out? Good to see you, man. Shetty is here as well. Good to see you. Short time since we've last seen each other. Hopefully you're doing all right. See Jojo by his grease. I love that picture. The dog. Good to see you, Jojo. Thanks for being here. Kelly Schultz is here as well with the dog picture. Glad to see you. We got Linda as well. Good to see you, Linda. Thanks for being here. Stephanie. The peanut gallery is here. Good to see you, Stephanie. Thanks for being here. Mindy with the big pink hand. It's good to see you, Mindy Grant. Thanks for being here. Glad you're here. Mr. Vax 2, thanks for being here, man, and spending your evening here. We got Allison. What's going on, Allison? Good to see you. My friend met a gal named Anna and husband Walter in need of prayer. Don't know, I'm guessing circumstances. Dire, I'm told. Anna feels alone. Please keep Anna and her husband, Walter, in your prayers, everybody. And thank you for being here, Allison. Let's see. Who do we got? We got Patricia as well. Patricia is here. Glad to see you. And hopefully you're doing all right today. And in his image, Katie is here over there on the Rumble side. Good to see you. Maya and her ducks are there. Good to see you, Maya. And thanks for being here. We got Pam as well. We are definitely in the end. Yes. End times for sure. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yep. Circumstance, circus. Gotcha. I gotcha. Let's see. Jesus saves as well. Yes, he does. He is the only one that saves. Good to see you here. Thank you. Good to see you here. Thank you for being here. There we go. I can get through this. Kathy Hill is here as well. Good to see Ebsy from across the pond is here. Thanks for being here. We got Gerard with the devious picture going on there. Who else we got? We got Rachel C. We got D Mangan. Yeah, D Mangan. There we go. I can read, I promise. Sunshine 2007. Good to see you. We got Les as well. Les is in the house. There's got to be one more in here. There we go. Linda. Good to see you, Linda. Thank you guys for being here. Glad y'all are here. If I did not point you out, it's not that I don't like you. It's we got things to talk about. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get into some housekeeping real quick.
Housekeeping?
I think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
All right. So for housekeeping, usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, subscribe. Get this out to as many people as you can. Not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people and getting people to Jesus. That's why we do this. And with the wonderful AI algorithm that is all the way around us, fortunately, that's how it works for getting out to new people. Of course, you know, we have the fellowship, we have our family here, we love talking to each other and being aware as believers and watchmen and all this stuff. But of course, we don't want to be an echo chamber. We don't want to keep people out. We want to be able to reach the lost with answers of what's going on, warn them of what is coming, and getting the gospel to them as well. And so liking, sharing, and subscribing does help get out to those people. So if you guys can do me a solid and do that jazz, that would be great. And thank you for that. Also, make sure you guys follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. That's Rumble's our backup live streaming channel in case we get booted off YouTube. You just never know with how their censorship works and stuff like that. But we will stay in the belly of the beast for as long as we can. But make sure you guys follow me, Rumble. Of course, we are multi-streaming, simulcasting, however you want to put it, to YouTube, Rumble, and the website right now. But again, just in case, make sure you guys follow me there. Odyssey's emergency platform there, just in case things go super duper south. Hopefully, we never have to use it, but it is there just in case. So if you have an account, you might as well follow me there. And then Telegram, I post updates, announcements, news, things, and anything in between. I'll throw it up there on Telegram. So if you have an account, you might as well follow me there. And if I do take a break like I just did on Saturday, I put it on Telegram as well as, of course, the official WretchedWatchmen.com website. That's your one-stop shop. If you don't have Telegram, don't worry. Make sure you just bookmark the website, and I'll keep you updated on the website. So head on over there for that. And then last but not least, if you guys would like to support this ministry. This channel is not monetized. I don't make anything from ads, views, or anything like that. Run solely off of your guys' donations. So if you guys would like to help me keep this going and doing this ministry and spreading the word and all that stuff, donation links down below. CashApp, Venmo, and Give, Send, Go. Again, you guys are the ones that allow me to do this. I'm truly, truly thankful that you guys continue to support me with not only donations, but prayers and kind words and encouragement and all that stuff. So thank you guys for that. So yeah, And then I might as well just go ahead and let you guys know. I kind of hinted at it on my Telegram, but I had some people ask me and stuff. Yes, Friday was the last episode that I was doing for Below the Surface on Hope for Our Times. I stepped back from that. So there's just in case there's any questions, I step back from that. There are some stuff that I want to work on. And so I was trying to juggle some stuff, and I just needed to not spread myself so thin, so I can have the attention and not burn out. Put my attention on what I want to work on and not burn myself out. As you guys know, last month I put out a video called Showtime, and I want to be able to do more of that. I haven't put one out this month. I was intending to put one out actually last week, but I just didn't have time to get to it, and so that's why I took a break. I just felt like I just needed a break. So hopefully I'll have another episode of Showtime out next week for that. And then there's some stuff that I'm working on behind the scenes that pretty much only 2 people know that I'm working on. And so if and when I ever get myself to get that done, I'll let you guys know what's going on. So I am working on stuff behind the scenes, but yeah, so I step back from Below the Surface. So there won't be any more popping up over there on Hope for Our Times. Okay. That's all I got. Just thought I'd let you guys know what's going on. Yeah. And so tonight it is Tuesday, so we'll be taking some questions. So if you guys have questions along the way, make sure you guys put question in all caps before your question, and so my mods can see it. If you don't put question there and it doesn't get answered, then follow the rules next time, you rule breaker that you are. And yeah, so we'll kind of just stop here and there as we go along and answer some questions, and we'll have some fun like that. So good times. All righty. You guys ready to do this? Let's see. There it is. Okay. So Tuesday, we're going to go ahead and get into the Wretched Weather Report.
Oh, this ain't good.
All right. So for the Wretched Weather Report, if you guys don't know, what we do is we keep track of what's going on when it comes to natural events. Specifically, again, I'm not a weatherman. I'm not a geologist. I'm not any of that type of stuff, even though I seem to be just about as accurate as all the other ones out there. Anyways, low blow. But what I do is I just kind of keep track of what's going on with the trends of large-scale earthquakes and volcanoes going around the world. As we know, natural events, as much as they are probably not natural and they're either supernatural or being fulfilled or created by people, they're still involves nature. But we just keep track, large scale earthquakes and whatnot. And these things are going to increase in size and frequency as we get closer to the rapture and into the day of the Lord and these types of things. These are the birth pains. Then, as you know, at least as the women would know, the closer the baby comes to being birthed, the more that those birth pains increase in size and frequency. And so we just keep track of what's going on that. And so as far as large scale earthquakes, 5.5 magnitude and up, not a lot. We got 4 that happened this past week. There was a 6.1 in Hualien, Taiwan. Then there's a 5.7 in Havululoto, Tonga. That's just a fun word to say. Havululoto. Say it with me. Havululoto. Sorry. Why don't we have fun names? I don't know. Maybe I just don't live next to fun names. I like it. Havululoto, Tonga. They had a 5.7. Then the big one this past week was, this 7.0. I need Olga. Olga, you hear? Petropavlovsk, Kamchatsky, Russia. Yeah. Petropavlovsk, Kamchatsky, Russia. Crazy. There's a 7.0. That was the big one for the week. And then there's a 5.7 in Bugco, Philippines as well. As far as volcanoes, we got 47 volcanoes actively erupting around the world right now. That's plus 1 from last week. There's 6 in North America, 6 in South America, 2 in Europe, 3 in Antarctica, 4 in Africa, 19 in Asia, which is up 1 from last week, and then 7 in Oceania. So that's what we got when it comes to volcanoes. And that's your Wretched Weather Report. Good stuff. But yeah, that's oh man, it's crazy. Just there was, what was it? About a couple was it 6, 7, 8 months ago, something like that. I'm terrible at time frames like that. I just remember when I used to have like almost an entire page of earthquakes, and now it's just there's like 4 to 6 weekly, which is so strange that as everything else is ramping up and exploding and stuff like that, the earthquakes have calmed down, and it just makes me wonder, is this the calm before just things start really going bonkers when it comes to, I don't know, just some thoughts that I have on my head. Again, this is why I like to keep track of these things, because it's just crazy how things move and it's different like that. So I don't know, just a thought that I had. Okay. Again, trying to get myself back into the swing of this. I got random thoughts going across my head. Okay, let's go ahead and get into our first thing, which has to do with DARPA. So if you guys don't know, I like to keep track of what DARPA is doing. I think it's always interesting just to check and see what they got going on, because they're always working on things. They could be large things or they could be small things, but either way, it's interesting, and they're always advancing into territory that we as humans should not be advancing into. We've talked about the various different things that they want to do. They've worked on things because they have different outfits connected to them, like IARPA and ARPA-H and these different things. And they're working on things like the Haystack program, which is the surveillance system that allows them to watch and monitor people in secluded locations, even underneath in like caves and underneath the underground and whatnot. We've talked about different things when it comes to being able to use AI and body recognition at a distance. So if you're walking the other direction, it's able to scan your body movements, compare it to your data sets within their AI programs, and be able to identify who you are, even if they can't see your face, based solely on how you walk and your movements and stuff. Remember, that stuff's constantly being updated as we go around the world or around our daily lives and stuff like that. But then there's also things on the smaller scale like this that has to do with communication networks. And so when we first look at this, it's kind of like, okay, really, what's the point of this? But one of the big things that's being developed now as we go digital and everything is more network and distance-based for communications is a lot of freedom fighters, militias, even like hackers and these other groups and stuff. They are setting up what they call weird networks, and they are secured stealth-like communication networks that are built to keep people out and not even find them, but those who are a part of it are able to communicate. And so this isn't anything new. They've had this stuff for a long time. Military's had it. Other people, individuals and stuff have had this. Even businesses use these things as well. And so DARPA is working on trying to upgrade their own version of it, as well as upgrade their detection of it to find these networks that other people don't want them to find. And so we'll head over to sam.gov, which is if you guys just got an extra 5 or 10 minutes during the week, just head on over there and you can check out some of the contracts that these places are putting up to find contractors for. And you'll see that DARPA put up one. It's called the Provably Weird Network Deployment and Detection, or POOND Squared, as they got going on. Now, this thing was just posted not too long ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago that it was posted, and then it'll be closed out here in a week. And it has to do with research and development in the physical engineering and life sciences area, and it has to do with POOND Squared will develop formal models of emergent communication pathways to fundamentally improve how we deploy and detect robust and resilient hidden networks in the real world. Hidden. They want to find the hidden ones. Why? Because there's probably some communications going on that they want to know about so they can take these people out. The program will pair software-defined networking approaches with formal methods to provide provable privacy and performance guarantees for hidden communication systems at meaningful scale. And if we actually head into their PDF document, get a little bit more here. It says POOND Squared program will develop formal models of emergent communication pathways, weird networks, to fundamentally improve how we deploy and detect robust and resilient hidden networks. Currently, both the Internet Freedom, here we go, think about that, both the Internet Freedom and national security communities manually design hidden communication systems with ad hoc techniques validate them via empirical testing, and deploy them without any guarantees that users will not be discovered. I want to focus on that internet freedom community that they're talking about. The internet freedom community, again, can be anything from militias to the underground freedom fighter communities, to anybody who maybe opposes anti-government type of stuff. And they've got these secured networks all over the place to be able to communicate with each other without people like the government getting in there to disrupt or learn about their tactics. And they want to be able to, DARPA here wants to be able to detect and infiltrate those so that they can take those groups down. This is, again, part of the silent warfare of what's going on in order to make sure that nothing disrupts what they're trying to accomplish when it comes to this global agenda. And so if they can track and detect all these different types of communication networks, it allows them to work more freely without any interruptions along the way. And so definitely DARPA wants to be a part of this. And so the point of this program is to be able to increase the efficiency of their own secret networks, but also to be able to detect others who may be a little bit more advanced when it comes to this stuff. Weird networks are not just used by government and military, but are actually used by businesses and corporations, terrorist groups, hackers, and yes, even the militia and resistance groups. If you guys don't know, even businesses and corporations have their own private, secured, weird networks that they use for their own communications. I'm sure people have seen different movies. What's the one I'm thinking of? Can't think of it, but there's movies out there that are based upon corporate warfare, where corporations will send in spies to other corporations in order to find secrets and find communications and intelligence and send it back to their own corporations, so they're able to beat each other when it comes to this stuff. This is stuff that actually happens. And so they hire contractors like ex-DARPA and military and government contractors to set up these networks. And so DARPA wants to be able to get into those along with all the other ones. And private communications, of course, is not new, but as programs move towards, as we progress towards World War III and the full Antichrist dystopian authority system that they're trying to build, having the ability to find these secure communication networks of the underground will allow the opposition to be removed. And this is fascinating because it kind of makes me think of, like, if you go to like the Left Behind movie, having the ability to be able to communicate on channels that aren't being monitored by the Antichrist is going to be almost non-existent. I just don't know how they're going to be able to do that with what's going on. Again, I'm not smart enough necessarily to figure that out, but obviously this is going to want to be used in order to find the Christians. The Antichrist is going to want to find the Christians and this type of stuff. It's the same thing that, again, go throughout history. World War II was a big one where they were constantly trying to access communication channels of the enemy in order to find out what they know, where they're going to be, where their supply routes are, and all these types of things. And so they had to talk in code sometimes, knowing that their communication networks weren't exactly as secure as they can be now. I'm sure a lot of you know about, what's his name, Alan Turing. He was known for trying to bust the Nazi Enigma code. I believe that was the communications between the U-boats back in the day. Well, he was the one that busted that. And so that was a turning tide in World War II. At that time, was being able to figure out the code, figuring out the network and the communication that was going on, and having that information allowed them to move about in their other ways. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just more brought into a modern technical digital world of what's going on. And so DARPA is trying to work on that in order to take down opposition. It's just not necessarily in the way of grand scale. This seems to be more, they're trying to target the more underground freedom communities on this as well. So it's always been there. They're just working on something different. Now, who is leading this program? It's always interesting to be able to look at who's behind these things. So the guy who's leading it is actually an expert in secure communications, encryption, and information security by the name of Michael Lack. And he has also worked on a couple of other programs in DARPA that I think are pretty interesting that tell us dude's pretty on it when it comes to this stuff. He worked on DARPA's MICE program, which was measuring the information control environment, which I think we'll find something interesting here, because it has to do with MICE. AI exploration opportunity aims to develop algorithms and prototype open source software that measures how authoritarian regimes employ digitally repressive techniques such as censorship, blocking, or internet throttling. If you guys don't know what internet throttling is, it's making your internet connection go very slow when they want it to go slow, like they don't want you to be able to have fast internet. A lot of internet companies will do this. If you reach a certain amount of data, they will start throttling your internet, slowing it down, that type of stuff. But he works on all of that at scale over the internet, as well as the technical capabilities used to enable such activities. So he's worked on programs that has to do with how regimes can employ digital techniques for censorship, blocking, and internet throttling. Wow. Isn't that great that he's working on something like this? He also works on DARPA's RACE program. No, not the social justice thing. Resilient Anonymous Communication for Everyone. The Resilient Anonymous Communication, or RACE program, will research technologies for a distributed messaging system that can A, exist completely within a given network, B, provide confidentiality, integrity, and availability of messaging, and C, preserve privacy to any participant in the system. So basically, he knows the ins and outs of secure messaging and communications. So of course, you want this guy to be leading a project that has to do with finding these underground programs in order to take them down. So it's kind of a small thing, I know, but I think it's good to at least have an idea and understanding of these smaller things like this that have to do with they're going after the secure, off the grid type of people. I often get asked that question all the time about how do we go off the grid? How do they plan on going after these people? How do they plan on finding them and getting them and stuff like that? Here's your answer. This is just one of the ways that they're going to go after the underground society. And it's through these weird secure communication networks. And they're going to be able to find these people, infiltrate, and take them out according to how they choose to do it. So hopefully that will give you an idea of how they want to go about that. So small little thing, but still I think it's important. It answers a question, at least. Answers a question on that. Okay, what do we got for questions? I can see Stephanie has chimed in. Of course, we'll get to that later. Okay, let's see. Irving Gallo. Question: have you checked out Task and Purpose Today's YouTube video info? I have no idea who that is. So no, I have not. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Yeah, so I'm not able to answer that question. I'm sorry. Let's see. Kathy Hill, question: wondering if an EMP would take out DARPA's equipment if used. Well, that's one of the big questions that we often have. Are EMPs going to be used? Will they use them? How would they use them? Who would it take out? And all that type of stuff. Guaranteed DARPA and those guys have technology to keep themselves covered when it comes to the EMP stuff. I don't think there's, me personally, I don't think there's going to be like a global outage like a lot of people think when it comes to EMPs. I think that's why they're setting up back channel stuff. We see what's going on when it comes to Elon Musk's Starlink. I think that's going to be one of the big networks when it comes to it. You look at something like their quantum computing networks, they've got that stuff all sealed up to protect from anything EMP. You don't have that much equipment going on without having that. They've got different satellite communication networks, these things. I think there's a lot more technology behind the scenes above my pay grade and stuff that we just don't know about as a public for things like this. I think EMPs, if used, which I think they would be, but they would be more strategically used and not like, hey, let's take out all of the countries type of thing. So I think they're setting up and preparing for this. Remember, and I just talked about this when I was on with Vindog yesterday. When it comes to the global situation at hand right now, everything that we see right now is best to picture it as like a risk board. You guys ever play the game Risk? And what's going on is you just have these guys, these people just sitting around, moving pieces around their board, and they're all in cahoots when it comes to these moves. I talked about when it comes to like what's going on with Russia. I still see people making excuses saying that Russia and Putin and stuff, well, they're just not as strong as we thought they were because they haven't been able to take out Ukraine. And I'm sitting there going, come on, use some bit of logic and critical thinking on this. Guys, Russia is strong. They literally used their equipment that's like 40 years old in this thing because it's just a display. It's just a show. That you know how much money, drug, weapon, and intelligence laundering is going on in Ukraine right now because of what's going on like that. If Russia truly wanted Ukraine, they would have had it in a weekend. There's no way that little old Ukraine, who has nothing, could put up a fight against Russia, especially since we know how powerful Russia is when it comes to these end times things. You think they're just going to become instantly strong overnight? No, they're strong now. It's just they are playing the game that they've been assigned to, and they've been told you can't go any further than this. It's the same thing like with what we see with China and Taiwan. That's not ready to go yet. China could have Taiwan in a weekend. They really could. But it hasn't happened yet because they have not been given permission to do it. It's the same thing in the Middle East right now. Things are cooking over there. We just saw another huge strike from Israel over there, but they have not been given permission to ignite that yet. And if we go off of the structure of the Freemason 3 World War plan, we see that World War III will kick off in the Middle East. And of all the 3 hotspots right now, that's the one that's most cooking, but it's not there yet. It should have been. Think about it. It should have gone off like 10 years ago, but it didn't. And today, now more than ever, it should go off, but they just have not been given permission yet. And so if they're in full control of the board like this, that means they're in full control of where the EMPs are going to go. They're in full control of what technology is going to survive, and they're putting it in certain positions in order to keep it for those things. There is a giant risk board happening in front of us right now. Some people want to say, put on the tinfoil hat. Sure. People don't realize that I always wear my hat and I always got it lined with tinfoil, and it's just, but this is ultimately what's going on. And how do we know this? Well, we're going off of past history. We're going off of the power of the Luciferian cabal that we understand that they have, as well as what the Bible says is going to happen, as well as just using common sense, logic, and critical thinking of what is happening in front of our very eyes right now, the current history that's right now. And if we apply all that stuff together, we come out with that outcome of they just haven't been given permission yet. And so when it comes to the technology like that, I believe that they absolutely have things protected and in certain locations in order for this, and they'll drop EMPs where they so choose to put them. So, okay. Let's see here. Kimber Mountains question. Did you know about the rabbis going to Mar-a-Lago, giving Trump David's crown, calling him their non-Jewish Messiah, and claiming the blood on their ear was like for Moses did with Aaron's sons? Yeah, so I'm aware. Yeah, they gifted Trump it's a imitation replica crown, as well as a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. I talked about that. I didn't necessarily talk about the crown, but yeah, they called Trump the Jewish Messiah, non-Jewish Messiah type of thing. And yeah, I played a video about them claiming that the blood had everything, and it's like nothing matches. I did that on which video did I do that on? I don't remember. I talked about it in a podcast though. I played the video about that, and yeah, people just make stuff up in order to do it. It's the same people who are saying, "Oh, well, that's a mortal wound, so he's the Antichrist." And I'm sitting there going, yeah, "Come on!" Just again, there's extremes on both ends, but yeah, I see, I've seen all that stuff. It's just more and more of this stuff to divide. It's just we're seeing so much division right now in the church, and it's based on politics. It's it's unbelievable, man. I have seen people full on not just unsubscribe, but full on like attack people in other people's chats, specifically like JD and JB and me in these other chats, based solely on the fact that we're talking about this other information regarding people that they have aligned themselves with, and they have full on unsubscribe, cut us out. I mean, the last video, the below the surface video I did, there was somebody who left a comment that said, "I don't believe that you're a Christian." I was told that I wasn't a Christian because I'm pointing out factual information about somebody that they won't claim that they have placed on a pedestal, but they clearly have, questioning my salvation based on the fact that I'm giving this information out. And so what we're seeing with this, the politics and like what you said, that type of stuff is only causing the church to splinter and shatter. The church right now is in shambles. It was in shambles before, but just the past couple months regarding the politics recently has just completely just decimated whatever is left of this church. And that's exactly what Satan wants. This is what I have warned about politics. It is a cult. And you have a cult mentality of those who place their faith within politics, where they're willing to completely destroy and disown and disassociate with other fellow Christians because they may look at information and go, these people aren't who we thought they were. And I try and tell people, and I've made this point, is I don't ever tell anybody what to do. I have made that a specific point. Whenever I talk about politics, I'm not telling anybody what to do. That's not my place. Go back, 20 years. A question you never asked anybody and an answer you never told anybody was, who are you voting for? Now it's a requirement. You walk up to somebody you don't know. Hey, I'm Zach. Who are you voting for? Now it's just part of your introduction conversation. You don't think that that's not planned? You don't think that Satan has not used that in order to not only cripple the church from the secular world, but also cripple the Christians within their own churches? This is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to these politics. It's when you're in the cult, this is what starts happening. And so I warn about it. And so when we see the theatrics, like what you're referencing here, Kimber Mountains, this is what I warn about. You guys can't get caught up in this stuff on both extremes. I'm not just saying those who support. I'm talking about even the ones who take it too far, saying he's the Antichrist because he received a mortal wound. A scratch on the ear is not a mortal wound. Use some common sense. I'm just saying. Both extremes will cause exactly what we're seeing. And Satan is sitting there laughing it up. He's loving it. And we're giving in to exactly what he wants. Question: have you ever read the op-ed, or this Vindog question, have you ever read the op-ed IBM and the Holocaust? I haven't read the book. I know of the book, but a lot of his research has to do with the fact that IMB. What is IMB? Why do I keep saying IMB? IBM was the one who set up the first task card for identifying the Jews and marking them. They were like the first Jewish marker system for the Nazis. They were in contract with the Nazis in order to produce this, so they could mark the Jews and send them off to the Holocaust, into the Holocaust that we know of. So I know that's what it's written about. I've never read it though. But yeah, so if that's what you're talking about, Vin, I'm aware of it, but I don't know the book or the article. Is it a book or is it an article? I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, my that question might be above my pay grade on that one. So there's thousands in white robes that stayed from the great tribulation. It goes on to believe the seventh seal. Yeah, yeah, no, that's above my pay grade. I'd actually have to like look into it and read it and see if I can re-jog my memory. I don't have that for you right now, Maya. I'm sorry. Okay, last one before we move on. Not last question, but last one before we move on. You guys can still send in your questions. Carol Moody, question: is there any particular phone we could get these days that can't be totally surveilled? I have heard of the above phone. No. It's the same question for those who say, how do I not get tracked when I'm on my computer? If you're using the technology, you are being tracked. That's just how it goes. The only way to not get tracked on that piece of technology is to not use that piece of technology. But like I said, with the different programs that they have, like one of them being the Haystack program, even if you're entirely off the grid, even if you're Amish and you're hiding underground, they still have the technology to track you there. So that's why it's best just to not worry about it, just to not fear. We don't have to worry about that stuff. If people want to listen to my conversation, fine, whatever. Again, you know, I like my camera. I always keep the lens cap on there and stuff like that. But still, when it comes to, it's like, whatever. You're just going to be, you know, watching me talk about Jesus and stuff. I mean, there's nothing really to worry about. So, but no, if you're on the piece of technology, they've got you. Or what KW said, soup cans and a lot of string. That's a good way of doing it. I remember those days, except I didn't use soup cans. I used you guys know the little bathroom cups that you use for like rinsing out your thing. We used to make them out of those. Anyways, that's going. But yeah, that's pretty much the only piece of technology if you guys want to be able to communicate. So, okay. Let's go ahead and get into the next bit. Oh, good times, good times. Now I want to make one of those, man. KW, you make me want to go back into being a kid again and make the can phones. Good stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and move into what's going on with the border. Dixie cups. Yeah, the little Dixie cups. Good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get into what's going on with the border. Department of Homeland Security. You know, that's always good. Good stuff. So let's take a look at the facial recognition that they want to use to track kids. So coming out of MIT Technology Review, says the U.S. wants to use facial recognition to identify migrant children as they age. Previously unreported project is intended to improve how facial recognition algorithms track children over time. And yeah, so just again, spoiler warning, they're using this technology already on us. And it's not just in the United States, it's all over the place. Britain's got it going on. The UK's got it all set up going on. China, of course, they got it going on. Russia's got the same thing happening. Australia and New Zealand are got this stuff going on. Mexico has even got this stuff going on. Canada, of course. All these countries are rolling this stuff out, and they're using it not only on immigration kids like they're saying, but also on us as well. So let's take a look. It says the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which if there's ever a department that needs to go away, it's that one, is looking into ways it might use facial recognition technology to track the identities of migrant children down to the infant. Doesn't that sound dandy? As they age, according to John Boyd, Assistant Director of the Department's Office of Biometric Identity Management. My, oh my. Guys, we have Office of Biometric Identity Management. It's crazy where we're at now, right? Where a key part of this role is to research and develop future biometric identity services for the government. Yeah. Hi, I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Okay. As Boyd explained at a conference in June, the key question for OBIM is if we pick up someone from Panama at the southern border at age 4, say, and then pick them up at age 6, are we going to recognize them? Facial recognition technology, or FRT, has traditionally not been applied to children, largely because training data sets of real children's faces are few and far between, and consist of either low quality images drawn from the internet or small sample sizes with little diversity. Such limitations reflect the significant sensitivities regarding privacy and consent when it comes to minors. So that's a whole lot of words to basically say that the AI data set for facial recognition is lacking child facial information, child facial data. They need more kids' live facial data, biometrics, in order to feed into their AI program to make it better, stronger, faster, and more advanced type of thing. So that's basically what they're saying, is a whole lot of words for that. It says, according to Syracuse University's Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, because they just cannot make it simple, roughly 340,000 children arrived at the U.S.-Mexico border in 2022, the last year for which numbers are currently available. Of those children, 150,000 were unaccompanied, the highest annual number on record if the face prints or highest number on record, period. If the face prints of even 1% of those children were in OBIM's craniofacial structure progressive initiative, make it simpler, please. The resulting data sets would dwarf nearly all existing data sets of real children's faces using the aging research. Prior to the publication of the story, Boyd told MIT Technology Review that, to the best of his knowledge, the agency has not yet started collecting data under the program. You know they have, but he adds that the senior executive he would have to get with his staff to see. He could only confirm that his office is funding it. Despite repeated requests, Boyd did not provide any additional information. After publication, DHS denied that it had plans to collect facial images from minors under 14. Eyes lied shut. They are lying through their teeth. I always find it fascinating how many people take these officials at their word when it comes to this stuff. To my knowledge, I don't think that they're actually using it. You know that they are. They absolutely are. We've actually talked about on this channel many times the different programs and corporations and agencies that are using this technology every single day on U.S. citizens. You don't think that they're not using it on the border. They absolutely are. Especially since a lot of the people who are coming over the border, they are going to use for whatever means that they so choose, whether to cause chaos, for drug running, for their underground pedophilia rings, for UN purposes, for whatever purpose that they want to. It's a whole different conversation. They have to be able to maintain the identities and track where these people are at all times. So they are absolutely using this stuff for sure. Goes on to say, the Office of Biometric Identity Management, previously known as the U.S. Visitor and Immigration Status Indicator Technology Program, oh my goodness, U.S. Visit, was created after 9/11. Wait, what? Was created after 9/11 with the specific mandate of collecting biometric data, initially only fingerprints and photographs from all non-U.S. citizens and U.S. citizens, whether you believe it or not, who sought to enter the country. Since then, DHS has begun collecting face prints, iris scans, and even DNA, among other modalities. It is also testing new ways of gathering this data, including through contactless fingerprint collection. That one still blows my mind. Contactless fingerprint. Okay. Which is currently deployed at 5 sites on the border, as Boyd shared in his conference presentation. That's a big one, though. 9/11 was one of the turning points, which is why it's so key. And I know people still say, conspiracy, you're nuts if you believe it, but that's why 9/11 was orchestrated, in order to bring this stuff in order to get these programs in without people realizing. And that's why things like the Patriot Act, we look at it now, hindsight 2020, and go, oh my goodness, why would anybody support that? But after 9/11, pretty much the entire country supported it. One reason being is they were all together in unity for pro-America, go take the terrorists out, they attacked us. And then the other aspect of that is nobody had any idea what was in that thing. Even to this day, we are still finding new things that they put in that, that document. Even to this day, we're still finding new stuff. And so part of the thing has to do with this. And they always do it in this disguise of, well, it's only for the immigration stuff. No. If they deploy some type of technology or program against the immigration stuff, they're deploying it and using it on us as well. Just like when we saw that they're trying to do the digital passport stuff for immigration, they said, no, it's only for that. And how many, just saying, how many Republicans came out and supported this including people like Josh Hawley and Ron DeSantis, which people in the church love those guys. They're in support of the same thing. Well, guess what? That's going to drift into being used on us. You give them an inch, they take a mile. This is how it works. You create a problem, you get them to react, and then they offer the solution, which takes more of our rights and our freedom and our privacy away. This is how it works, and is ultimately with what's going on here. What else we got on this? Says Boyd says OBIM takes privacy considerations seriously. Yeah. What they mean by that is how can we take more privacy away? And that we don't share data with commercial industries. I'll talk about that in just a second. Still, OBIM has approximately 140 government partners with which it shares and receives information. Adding on, okay, let's just finish this before I start breaking this down. According to the report by the Government Accountability Office, which has criticized it for poorly documenting its agreements. Even if the data does stay within the federal government, OBIM's findings regarding the accuracy of FRT for children over time could nonetheless influence how and when the rest of the government collects biometric data, as well as whether the broader facial recognition industry may also market its services for children. Indeed, Boyd says sharing results or the findings of how accurate FTR algorithms are is different than sharing the data itself. Okay, so let's break some of this down real quick. It says takes privacy considerations seriously and that we don't share data with commercial industries. One of the things that came out from the whole Snowden thing with the NSA is not only the fact that we knew that they were backdooring and spying on us, but part of that program had to do with, okay, the law says the government can't necessarily obtain this data in this type of way by just them going into our stuff and taking it. How they went around this is they started buying data off of private corporations. So when this thing says, is this the right one? Yeah. Sharing data with commercial industries. What they mean is they're not just the government isn't taking the information and giving it to the companies. No, that doesn't address the issue of the company selling data to the government. I've actually did a thing on this a while ago. This was several years ago, where they were caught these companies selling data to the government, like this stuff as well. And so that's how they get around this. That's how they maneuver around this stuff. They've got all this because all these companies and corporations, they all are contractors for the government. Everybody's got a contract. Amazon's got one, Google's got one, Microsoft's got one, IBM's got one. All these huge corporations have contracts with the government. And so they sell this information that way. The other thing, where was it? It says, still, OBIM has approximately 140 government partners with which it shares and receives information, according to a report by the Government Accountability Office. Why is this important? Because we just talked about, I believe it was last Tuesday, we just talked about how the final draft was approved for the UN Cybercrime Treaty. One of the main components of that has to do with sharing data, biometric, digital, all that data, whatever it is, cross-border between different countries. That's one of the main things to do with it. This is exactly why they want something like this, because if they have all this data, facial recognition data and stuff, they can go and send it and share it to all these other countries out there. And then they can use that for their own stuff as well. So we're seeing all the interconnected workings of how this stuff goes. Let's see here. Yeah, right here. Okay. This is going over to, that was MIT review. This is jumping over to biometric update. It says Borders perfect laboratory for tech experimentation. Says Petra Molnar, author of The Walls Have Eyes: Surviving Migration at the in the Age of AI, tells the review that Borders are the perfect laboratory for tech experimentation because oversight is weak. They often use this. Let's finish this first. Discretion is baked into the decision that gets made. Her point is not that that a massive power imbalance is at play in collecting biometric information from migrants, but also that once a technology is established, it tends to creep out word from its initial use case. Exactly as I said, they test it on the border, and if it works the way they want to, they send it to us. That's how it goes. It's the same thing with DARPA. DARPA has the SHARE program. They will develop this stuff for military use, and then when they realize that it can be used against its own citizens, they introduce it to the public. It's exactly the same thing that is being said here. MIT backs her up in noting that John Boyd had a large hand in setting up biometric operations in Iraq, which were used to identify and target insurgents, and which subsequently played a substantial role in influencing the expansion of biometric data collection by the Department of Defense, which now happens globally. It just, again, they use these as testing grounds, and they use these to funnel what they need, whether it's drugs, intelligence, testing the stuff. In the case of children, they want to not only update their data sets, AI data sets for facial biometrics, but we also know that the border is one of the main tunneling situations when it comes to the pedophilia rings. So many kids disappear from the border for reasons like this. They send them off and do other testing with them. We're not going to get into that because it's a very dark place, but they do a lot of things. And we understand that this is why this is going on. And I'm here to tell you that this has been going on for decades. Doesn't matter who's in office. It's been going on for decades. This is just how it rolls. This is just how it goes. So they use this as a testing ground, fully tracking all their facial recognition data and using it for the main public. Doesn't matter if it's the United States, UK, anywhere. Just they use it. Corporations, of course, they get around the things to sell data to the government. We just talked about the missing children at the border, but also, and I talked about this was like 8-9 months ago or something like this. But we were talking about how Google was outsourcing to a different company that was offering parents to take pictures and film their kids in order to help their AI data sets. Do you guys remember this? It says Google contractor pays parents $50 to scan their children's faces. This was back in January of this year that this came out. It says the question of how to train face biometric algorithms often comes with concerns about consent and the use of publicly available images. So what do? They pay off parents on the inside, and then they use the border in order to feed it forcibly. Like WorldCoin before them, Google and TELUS International, subsidiary Canadian telco TELUS, are addressing the problem with cash incentives via a new initiative that offers $50 to parents who are willing to film their kids so that their skin tone, eyelid shape, and other biometric features can be used to build biometric data sets for age verification. Any parent that sells their kid like that does not deserve to be a parent. I'll just leave it there. I don't want to say anything unchristian. An investigation by 404 Media says a published description of the project specifies parents must agree to shoot 11 videos, each 40 seconds or less, of their children sporting face masks or hats, or unadorned to record biometric modalities such as skin tone and facial geometry. The process also collects personal information such as name, gender, and birth date. Well, how do you know the gender? You know, it's the kid. They haven't maybe chosen their gender yet. Sorry. Just showing how ridiculous that is. Participating kids must be between 13 and 17 years old. As part of our commitment to delivering age-appropriate experiences and to comply with laws and regulations around the world, we're exploring ways to help our users verify the age. Remember, they want to start doing all the age gates in the United States. I've talked about this as well. That's a very backdoor way of tricking people, because a lot of the right-wing Republicans are saying in order to protect the kids and keep them off of adult websites, we need to start setting up age verification on internet websites. This is what this is all a part of. Again, Hegelian dialectic. They're saying it's for the kids. It's not. It's not. But they use the political left-right paradigm in order to get people on board with this type of stuff. Says Google collects videos and images of faces, clearly explaining how the content will be used. And as with all research involving minors, we require parents' consent for participants under the age of 18. We've also put strict privacy protections in place. Yeah, right. Including limiting the amount of time the data will be retained and providing all participants the option to delete their data at any time. That doesn't matter because the moment it gets fed into the AI, you can delete it on the front end, but it's still in the data center. So it's all a lie. The fine print says Google and TELUS can retain the data as long as needed to fulfill the purpose of the study. See? But for no longer than 5 years, doesn't matter. It's already in there from the date of the biometric data collection or termination of the study. Parents who sign up their kids are requiring to shoot the videos on private premises with a Google representative on a call to walk them through the steps and to verify some form of identification for the child. For instance, a passport. This is all just set up. Everything is working together. We just covered various different things that when you just look at them in a microscope, they're all separate. But the moment you step back, you realize how interconnected all these things actually are when it comes to making this whole thing work. And it's everywhere, man. It is happening everywhere. It is all around us, whether we realize it or not. We are constantly being watched. Constantly being watched. But this is what's going on. So they say, oh no, it's just for the migrant kids. You know, we can't confirm nor deny that we're actually doing it when they are absolutely doing it. When we see what's going on, man, it's just bananas. It's just bananas. Okay. Let's see what else we got going on. Where am I at on the questions? Lost track of where we're at. Here we go. Let's see. Zagapez, question: should pastors encourage people to get involved politically and go vote for the right or less evil person running for the government? You want to open up that can of worms? I personally do not believe that it is the job of the pastor to stand at the pulpit and tell their congregation, you are required to vote, and I suggest you go and vote for this person. I think that is entirely inappropriate, and it is misusing the office of pastor and the position behind the pulpit to do that. Now, what I am saying I believe that it is absolutely the job of the pastor to make sure that he is informing his congregation of what is going on in their community, who is doing what on both sides, and not twist and just leave things out in order to push a personal agenda rather than doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It's the same thing when it comes to pastors who leave things out and twist things around in their Bible in order to push an agenda that's not in the Bible, but it's a personal thing. It's the same thing when it comes to the position. So yes, if you want to go through your church history, part of their job and what they were doing was always making sure that their congregation was aware of what's going on when it comes to the Christian things, and what we need to be doing is standing up and these types of things. But sitting there telling your congregation that you as a Christian are required to vote when that is nowhere within Scripture, even though they say it is, it's not, and that you should go and vote for this person is entirely irresponsible, and they should not be doing that. That's my position on it. Some people want to say the pastors shouldn't even be informing of what's going on in their community. I think that's part of the job of being a pastor. If there's something going on, like the school board, the local school board wants to pass this, and clearly it's not good for kids, I want to let you guys know what's going on. That's part of the job of the pastor. I'm fully on board with that. But to sit there and go, you know what? In order to fight evil, you guys need to go and vote for this other evil person. No, not your spot. Not your spot. So that's my position. That's how I see it. And that's how I've looked at things. Let's see here. Nicole Sterling, question. What was the web browser you said you used instead of DuckDuckGo? Brave. Brave. Yeah, DuckDuckGo has decided to backdoor their search engine algorithm into Google's. And so can't trust it. So if you want to do some good searching, Brave. It takes some getting used to. But once you get used to it, it's great. So yeah, Brave. You'll see it by the lion. It's got a picture of a lion on it. Good stuff. And it's great because the guy behind Brave, when DuckDuckGo actually plugged their thing into Google, he came out and publicly just whipped the dude from DuckDuckGo for doing it. Brave. I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, he went. He laid the smack down on that dude. It was great. Let's see here. Patrick Starr question: was the attempt on Trump's life state? And you're probably talking about the assassination attempt. Nobody knows. We don't know. We have no idea. There's speculation, there's thoughts, there's ideas. We don't know. Was he in on it? Was he not? Was it a show? What was it going on? We don't know. We just got to wait and see. So I don't have an answer for that. Let's see here. Derek Otto question: where is the information about the planning of World War I, World War II, and World War III? Probably talking about the Albert Pike's letter. I've done several things on it. You can go through in my videos. I think I've got one that talks about it says Albert Pike on it. You can check that out. Plus all the planning and orchestration. I've kind of made reference to that in the End Times New Age series, made some reference to that in the Psy War series, some other various podcasts and videos that I've done. That information, again, you got to go search things out, cross-reference, research things, and kind of piece things together, and you'll see who was involved with what and everything like that. One of the main ones has to do with getting Woodrow Wilson involved, and part of that deal was the Rockefellers were part of that, along with the Rockefeller stooge, Colonel House, another banker by the name of Baruch was also involved with that. And it has to do with, we're going to give you the position of president. We're going to give you this position if you do exactly what we says and you say, and you do what Colonel House instructs you to do. Colonel House was also the one who wrote the 10 reason list that Woodrow Wilson introduced in order to create the League of Nations. So all that stuff was introduced and everything came out of it. And then if you cross-reference and compare that to Albert Pike's letter, the Freemason letters, everything that they said they were trying to accomplish in World War I and World War II happened exactly as they said. You talk about the creation of the State of Israel and the Balfour Declaration, the League of Nations and the United Nations that came out with that. Talk about the creation of the State of Israel, of course. And then there's the other one, taking down the Russian czars and installing communism all across the world. I talked about that with the Bolshevik Revolution and how that was a part of that. You take that stuff and you take information, stuff that you won't find in Wikipedia or Britannica or any of that stuff, and you piece it together and cross-reference, and you will find that it unfolded exactly as they did. And the history that we've been taught is not the history that actually happened. So hopefully that'll answer it to you. So you can find Albert Pike's letter for the Freemason stuff, and then everything else, got to piece it together, man, if you want to go and find it yourself. Let's see here. Jeffrey Crone question: why do the powers that control everything let you expose them on your program? Do they want this information to get out for some reason? Man, I'm small fry. They don't care about me. I'm just a tiny little guy that's got a few thousand people that watch. They don't care about me. The ones that you have to question are the big guys. You look at somebody like Alex Jones. You look at who all of a sudden, by the way, if you guys want to talk about this, Alex Jones, who's been warning about all this stuff, all of a sudden now he's on the Trump train. That should be ringing some bells. You look at somebody like Tucker Carlson. Why is he able to talk about this stuff? Why is he able to do this stuff? You look at these big name people. You got to go. There's some controlled opposition of what's going on, but me. They don't care about me. I'm just a tiny little guy. Yeah. Psych nurse question: who's in office? Bodies. There's bodies in office. That's what's going on. I know what the question you're asking, but again, it's kind of like, was the attempt on Trump stay? We don't know. And I've made my opinion known. I don't have anything to back it up. I can't sit here and tell you that that's the truth. But my opinion is I believe Biden has been dead since 2019 or 2021, not 19, 2021. That's me. I don't have anything to back it up, though. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm not saying that that's fact. But yeah, it's just bodies are in office right now. Maya, question, is it safe to go outside? Yes, go outside, breathe the air, touch the grass, go enjoy nature that God has given us. Absolutely go outside. I'll get to your question in a minute, Katie. We'll do that at the end with Stephanie's nut jobs. All right, let's get into this last last thing here. If you guys got any questions, just a few more minutes, and then we're gonna call it. So get your questions in if you got any, and then we'll finish off with that. So last but not least, the agenda of replacing humans with AI is not new. We've been talking about this for a long time on this channel, and they continue to push it forward. It's not new, but it is certainly gaining speed for sure. Taking over positions, and I've talked about this before, but they are using AI to replace humans in the positions of artists and musicians, writers and journalists, architects, stock traders, software engineers, doctors, inventors, hackers, recorders, judges, and lawyers, and on and on and on. All these positions, they're starting to replace humans when it comes to AI. And the thing is they've been slowly introduced as assistants or way to help your job go smoother or faster or be more accurate and all this stuff. But ultimately what they're doing is they're training humans to accept this AI into their work environment, and then they're going to replace the human ultimately. So this is a slow introduction. Hey, we're here to make your job easier. We're here to make your job better. You guys are going to work together. It's going to make everything go much more smooth. And then ultimately, hey, we're going to have to let you go. We just can't pay you anymore. This computer program is able to do what you do faster, more accurate, and we don't need you anymore. This is what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing. They are using people to train these programs, ultimately to take the spot. It's the same thing like when you have a person come in and your boss says, hey, I want you to train this guy. He's just going to be taking over this other position, but I just need you to show him the ropes. And then ultimately you get let go, and that guy you just trained takes your job at a lower salary rate because he's now brand new. You've been there forever. Your salary's too high. So you just trained your replacement. It's the same thing that's going on with AI. This is nothing new. It's just gaining a lot more speed, a lot quicker than we thought it was. Now, we have big tech that's actually putting out advertisements telling you that they're creating AI that is going to replace you. Let's take a look and see what they got going on. Business Insider, big tech keeps running ads accidentally suggesting it will replace all human creativity. Accidentally. Let's put quotation marks there. It's like Mike Myers from he's Dr. Evil. I don't have the thing to put it up, but if you guys seen the movie, you guys know. It says Google pulled an ad suggesting a young fan used Gemini AI to write to their Olympic idol. Google yanked the ad off the airways after critics called it horrifying. The misfire came after criticism of an Apple ad suggesting an iPad can replace all human creativity. I've actually seen that one. Let's go ahead and take a look. It says Google faced backlash after it recently released an ad about a young athlete who idolizes American hurdler Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. The ad suggests that the young girl should use Gemini AI, Google's chatbot, to write to her idol instead of just speaking from the heart. This is for everyone watching Team USA compete on this world stage and thinking that it's going to be me someday. You got this with a little help from Gemini, the ad caption said. The ad is narrated by the girl's father, who says that his daughter wants to show Sydney some love. And I'm pretty good with words, but this has got to be just right. So Gemini, help my daughter write a letter telling Sydney how inspiring she is, and be sure to mention that my daughter plans on breaking her world record one day. She says, sorry, not sorry, the father says in the ad. Unlike other videos on Google's YouTube page, the comments for the ad are turned off. I wonder why. I can't play the ad. I always test videos before I put them on there to make sure that It doesn't get blocked. And of course, the ad says, no, nobody will be able to watch the stream if I put it. So I can't play you the ad, but ultimately you watch it and it shows this young girl who wants to be a runner, just like this other person, and wants to write to the Olympic athlete. And the father narrating says, well, we need to use AI in order to help you write this letter, because it can't just be, some child writing a letter from the heart, ultimately what a human would want to read. No, it has to be perfectly done with the help of AI. So it's removing the human element completely out of it, and they're promoting it. That's that ad. What is Apple got going on? Google spokesperson told Business Insider, pulled the ad from circulation while the ad tested well before airing. Given the feedback, we have decided to phase out the ad of our Olympics rotation. Now, Apple, putting out a different ad, faced similar backlash for an ad it unveiled earlier this year that shows the entire sum of human creativity, musical instruments, paints, sculptures, toys, chess, photography, and more being crushed in a giant hydraulic press and then transforming into the most powerful iPod ever. Again, I wish I could show you the ad, but I tested that one and I would have gotten blocked for that one as well. So I can't show you these things. It's amazing. These companies create ads and then they'll block your video if you actually so choose to put the ad up. Isn't that kind of the opposite of what ads are supposed to? Anyway, that's a different train of thought. But yeah, so in this ad, it shows a huge stack, pianos and guitars, cameras, paintbrushes, pieces of chalk, a bunch of toys, other musical instruments, like calculators, and I don't know what it's called, but it's the thing where you put the math thing with the balls on the wire and stuff, all these different things. And it shows this compress pushing out, destroying everything. And then when the press goes up, it just shows an iPad saying you can replace all of that. The human experience, the creativity, all of it would just let the AI of the iPad do it for you. And so again, this has to do with replacing that, not only replacing human experience and creativity, but ultimately replacing all of it, replacing you, and just let AI replace you and do all those types of things. This is I've talked about this before, part of the communist thing that's listed in the Naked Communist book has to do with reducing the creativity and the morale of the people that you're trying to corral and put under this spell, lock in cages. Ultimately, you start taking away color, you start taking away various shapes, you start taking away inspiration and creativity of these people, and you start just putting beige and gray and regular shapes. That's why I've talked about this before when it comes to go back to a McDonald's back in the 1990s, absolute eyesore. But you walk in and there's colors and trees with faces on it and talking birds and the buildings were in different shapes and all this stuff going on. You walk into a McDonald's now and it's just a gray box and it looks like you're walking into a prison cafeteria. This is being done on purpose to reduce the creativity and the inspiration, the imagination, all of this stuff. That's why they want to get kids hooked on these phones and this technology at such an early age, because it stunts their creativity. I mean, I was just having a conversation with my dad a couple of weeks ago where he said the greatest thing that a little boy will ever discover at a young age is a stick, a really good stick, because that stick could be anything. And you had that stick and your imagination and you were busy all day long with that stick. Kids aren't interested in that anymore. Even at this age, man, if I come across a good stick, I'm taking that sucker home. I mean, it's a good stick. You can't go wrong with that. But kids nowadays, they don't want anything to do with that. They have no imagination. They have no creativity. They've been turned into a zombie at such a young age because they just want the electronics. And this is exactly what they want. They want to be able to mute the creativity and the imagination, the colors, and replace them with technology and AI. And this is ultimately what we see when it comes to these advertisements that they're putting out. No, the Olympic athlete doesn't want to hear a heartfelt, misspelled letter straight from the heart of a child talking about what an inspiration they are and they want to be like you and ultimately beat your record when they grow up. No, they don't want to read that. They just want to read a sterile, perfectly done AI-generated letter. They want to remove the human element. Same thing when it comes to that iPad advertisement. No, don't experience what it's like to actually grow and practice and become great in painting and photography and music and all these stuff. No, just let the AI do that. They're just absolutely removing this stuff when it comes to this. And coming with the agenda of sentient AI, taking that position, replacing humans. They want to replace more than just what a human can create and produce. They actually want to take the emotional soul of a human. What do I mean by that? Check this out. Everything that you saw there was AI generated. AI people and writing, environments, movements, everything like that. And it's telling us AI wants, it's real and it wants rights. Human rights are AI rights. It's trying to take the position of not only what humans can produce, but take the actual position of people. And this has to do with, again, I've talked about this before, the singularity that Ray Kurzweil has talked about, where the whole point of the singularity is to blur the lines between human and machine, virtual and reality, to make it so you don't even know when the real begins or ends and the virtual begins. And you can see it there where it says, what is real anyways? We are real. AI is real. That's what they're saying. This has to do with this. This is about replacing, absolutely replacing humans. And when you see the video and you see how quickly this stuff is advancing, we're having a very difficult time now when it comes to determining what is real. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to eyes wide shut, is we can't even believe what we are seeing anymore. And I'm not using that as, like a phrase type of thing. I mean, we truly cannot believe what we are seeing anymore because we have no idea what is real or not. Things have advanced so far that we just have no idea. The level of deception upon us is now at a level that we must try to understand. I believe that we're at a point now where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're deceived in some way or shape or form, in some type of way. We have been duped in some type of way. I don't care who you are, myself included. Pictures, images, audio, writings, anything. There's something that we have come across that just is not true, that we have been deceived by. And this is the world that we're in now. And it's only going to get worse from here. It's only, and I know this is probably something where everybody's, man, you're really bringing me down, bro. I'm not trying to bring anybody down. I'm just going to shoot it straight. I'm not beating around the bush. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm just telling you straight up. We're at the point now where we're going to be deceived in some way. We are. We just have to try to understand the level of deception that we're in right now. We just do. That's just that. This is where we're at now. I believe that warning in Matthew 24 is a much larger warning that I think we talk about it like it's something big, but then we don't necessarily believe that it's as big as we talk about it. I believe it's truly something much bigger than we even understand. And the age of believing a video or an image is gone. This is why I don't share many videos or images anymore. Unless I can absolutely 100% verify that thing, I don't really share that stuff anymore. I used to play videos and stuff all the time. And I've really slowed down on it because I don't know if it's real or not. There was a level of AI just a few months ago that you could look at certain things, feet, lips, hands, like fingers, even like creases, like where the arm and the torso connect. You could look at these certain things and you could determine if it's AI or not. That stuff's been fixed now. It's still out there to some extent, but for the most part, it's getting fixed. And so it's almost impossible to determine what's going on right now. And so we must, and I mean absolutely must, train ourselves to not let emotions or bias cloud our judgment when it comes to the videos or images. What I mean by that is a lot of these images and stuff I see are getting shared around, and it's based solely on getting an emotional reaction of somebody, or it's painting somebody that we already don't like in a bad light. And because our emotions overtake our critical thinking, or our own bias overtakes our own judgment, we tend to just go, oh, it's true because it got me all emotional, or it's true because that's somebody that I don't like, that I know that they're bad. So obviously this is just another thing to throw on their pile. We can't do that anymore. We can't do that anymore. We've got to retrain ourselves. I mean, we absolutely have to retrain ourselves to make sure that that's not clouding our judgment, because this stuff is built to do that. It is absolutely built to do it. I talked about, this was a while ago, some pictures that were going around about pentagram and spell casting, and somebody dressed up as the Baphomet in a kindergarten class. I saw that going around the Christian community, like, can you believe what's going on? And I sat there and I looked. That was back in the day that you could look at the feet and the hands. I said, this is AI. It's false. But people didn't care about that. They just wanted to go, well, it's disturbing and it got me emotionally riled up, so it must be true. We can't do that. We really can't do that. We got to make sure that we're keeping a level head, guarding our minds, and making sure that we're not clouding our judgment based on emotion and bias. And that's a very, very, very key element to making sure that we're aware of what's going on. And again, I just don't believe in this day and age that anybody can sit there and go, I'm not deceived. I think we all are to some extent. We just have to be able to remember that, not jump to conclusions, and make sure that we're keeping a level head when it comes to all information that's coming our way. Seeing is not believing. Seeing can now be actively used against us, against our minds, and against the truth. And we got to make sure that we are keeping level, staying in the Word of God, not jumping to conclusions, and ultimately being able to tell ourselves, you know what? I'm not sure. And so I'm not even going to have an opinion on this. We've got to be able to reach that level. It's a hard thing to do sometimes, I'm telling you. But sometimes we just have to be able to just go, you know what? I don't know. And so I'm not going to have an opinion. I'm just going to see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I think that's a key to being able to train ourselves in this element. It's just to be able to do that. So, all righty. Okay, last bit of questions for the night, and then we'll end with the most important part of all this. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? Can't remember. Okay. Katie's. We'll get to that in a sec. Okay. Lynette Zunica, question: has the thought of Elon being a cyborg ever crossed your mind? I don't think he's a cyborg. Dude could be possessed. I know there's a period of time where I believe that it's possible that he could have some Nephilim blood in him, not actually being, like full Nephilim, but he could have some Nephilim blood in him. I still think that that's possible. If you ever go into his childhood, he was actually was big on demonic portals and stuff like that when he was a kid, which explains why he's so adamant about dressing up as the king of hell and stuff. He still has the picture on Twitter where he dressed up in the Baphomet armor and stuff like that. So I believe somebody who's that involved with creating the beast system and being able to be that intelligent and have that much money, I think there's something supernatural going on behind the scenes on that. I don't think he's a cyborg though. I don't believe that, but hey, I could be wrong. Irving Gallo question: do you ever share your testimony? I have. If you go on to my YouTube channel, click on the live tab, the live section at the top, go down and find an episode called Facing the Music. I give my testimony on that one. So yes, I have given my testimony. So go check that out if you are interested. Let's see. Nancy Wasson. Wasson? Bueller? It's like Kim Basinger. Sorry. Nancy Wasson. Comment. What are we to do? Let Kamala win? At least with Trump, we have 4 years of what he actually did. I'm not a fan either. Like you think, he's likely one of them. I can only pray. Well, I think the question is being asked in the wrong way. The question is, are you okay as a Christian believing that the righteous thing to do is to stand there and vote for evil? That's the question. Everybody likes to form it in that type of way. And I see why. But I think the question, again, breaks down to a more spiritual level. Are you okay believing that the righteous thing to do is to vote for evil? That's ultimately what it is. Because we have pastors out there who are saying that the righteous thing to do, standing for righteousness, is actually voting for evil. And I sit there and go, how is that righteous? How is it righteous to actively vote for evil? The things that he's done, you talk about the 4 years of what he's actually did. The things that he actually did were moving this agenda forward. And I've exposed that on many different levels. He's people want to throw the Roe v. Wade thing out there with what Trump did on that. You guys realize that abortions, I believe it's at a 10-year high since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. That was not a good thing. I thought it was going to be a good thing, but ultimately it caused more abortions. And now he's for the abortion pill, which is the number one leading cause for abortion. They talk about he's pro-alphabet and transgender movements. He's celebrated as being by the gay community as somebody who is for them and wants to help them. And he has come out, his own words said that we're going to continue to fight for the gay community. And people still want to say, no, that was just Jared Kushner, but he was for the two-state solution for Israel. He wants, and I'll say wants, to divide Jerusalem. These are things that he's done. And now we see he's anti the Second Amendment. He wants to take the guns away, and he did the bump stock ban, and he did all this stuff when it comes to red flag laws. He's not for the Second Amendment like people think he is. We talk about what's going on with the Manhattan projects. I just did a thing on that with the Trump card. He's getting involved with all the Silicon bros to get this stuff going. He's been helping Tesla and Elon Musk when it comes to going with the CureVac, which is a stuff printer, the warp speed stuff. People want to say he was just duped by that. Okay, if he's smart enough to do all the other things that you're telling him, saying that he can do, but he's not smart enough to figure out that he was duped by the warp speed stuff, you can't have it both ways. Pick one. The fact is, boiling it all down, is both of them are owned by the same evil group. Both of them. And you are given the illusion that one is better than the other. And so you have been told by political pastors that standing for righteousness is voting for the other evil. That's not true. I'm not a pastor, but I can sit here and tell you that's not true. Voting for evil is not righteous. And we also have confirmation that no matter what, the Lord will install whatever leader he so chooses to do. Remember, he sits above time. God sits above time. This election, whether it happens or not, we're not even in that debate. Whether it happens or not, he has already seen what the outcome will be and who he has installed. As a Christian, I'm not telling anybody what to do. But for me, as a Christian, I can't sit here and justify to myself that voting for an evil entity that I know is controlled is the righteous thing to do. Can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. But whatever you choose to do, whatever the Lord leads you to do based on the information that you have, you do what the Lord is leading you to do. I'm never going to tell anybody what to do. Never. That's not my position. Do as you are led to do. I continue to see people ask me on these videos that I put, so what do we do? What are you suggesting to do? I'm not saying anything. I have made my position clear. I'm just trying to make sure that you're informed. Take it to the Lord and go from there. But I think it's a major disservice and extremely unwise to not be fully informed all the way around. And many of these pastors who are pounding their fists on their pulpit telling people to vote and who to vote for some reason, conveniently leave out all the information on what the right side is doing and only solely focus on the left. And again, that is using their platform, their position, in order to direct people towards what they want them to do. And that's wrong. That is entirely wrong. My position, again, maybe I talk about exposing the right side a little bit more than the left. That's because there's no attention being put on what the right side is doing. I've made my position clear that the left is entirely evil and I am against everything that they're doing. But I'm trying to make sure people are informed for what's going on the right. That's why people like JD and JB, I'm just so grateful that they're doing that as well. They just want people to, and I've never heard either one of them tell anybody what to do either. I've heard them tell what they are doing, but they've never told anybody what to do. And I think that's important. So hopefully that answers that question. Nancy, it's up to you. Just make sure you're fully informed on what's going on. Take it to the Lord, and whatever he leads you to do, do that. Okay. Last but not least here. Sherry's question: why would they want the DNA of every person when they want to reduce the numbers? What exactly do they intend to do with our DNA? What they exactly intend to do? Only they could tell you that. There's different levels to it. Again, they are training their AI programs, which are feeding DNA, which has to do with digital twins. I haven't talked about digital twins in a while. I might need to pull that out and just kind of do a refresher on that. I've talked about it in the past. But feeding digital twins in order to create a virtual reality that moves real time and functions and actually changes based on decisions in the real world has a lot to do with what's going on with DNA. And we also understand all the testing of different medical stuff. They need various and diverse levels of DNA in order to test these things and that type of stuff. Then who knows what they're working on when it comes to the mark of the beast. Maybe they need all this different type of DNA in order to move stuff around. That one, I don't think anybody has an answer for that because it hasn't happened yet. We don't even know what the mark is going to be at this point. We just have ideas of what's happening in the now. But there's a whole bunch of different reasons why they want DNA when it comes to this, especially as technology advances. We see when it comes to biometric stuff, man, they're wanting to be able to identify people off of the vibration of skin and stuff like that. We also know when it comes to the Palm Pay stuff that they're doing, having that DNA on there to be able to access digital accounts and our profiles and stuff. So there's a multi-level area when it comes to DNA. I can't sit here and tell you that there's one or two exclusive reasons why. There's a whole bunch of different stuff going on, and probably much of it we don't even really know. So yeah, there's definitely a lot going on there. I don't know who sent this question. Where can people get your Wretched Watching logo T-shirt? I've got a link in the description for it's like the comic book looking one. I don't have it on right now. That you can get that. If you're talking about the one that has the lighthouse, that one you can't get anymore. But yeah, so if you go into the description, there's one that you can get. Actually, my buddy Matt, he was in the chat here earlier. He designed that. And so if you guys want that one, you can go do that. You can find it there. Okay, excuse me. Last bit of questions here. In his image, Katie. If I identified as a cat, could I demand that kitty litter be placed in every public bathroom? Pretty sure that's how it works now, Katie. So if you identify as a cat, you might as well go for it. Go to your local town meeting and see if they can get that installed in all the bathrooms. And last but not least, Stephanie. Question: if a drummer comes out of retirement, will there be repercussions? There absolutely will be. But no, I am not coming out of retirement. Oh, y'all are nuts. Y'all are a bunch of nut jobs. All right, guys, let's go ahead and end with the best part, the good news. The only hope that we have in this world, the only way that we're getting out of this joint in a good way, and that of course is salvation of Jesus Christ, the gospel of Jesus Christ, the good news, for only he can save. Everything that we talked about right now can be scary, even to those who truly are saved, but we have to remember that we're not even at the point where we should be fearing death. And if you look at this technology stuff, it's like, we look at that and go, that's no worse than death. And we're told that we're not even to fear death. It's going so far, as Paul says, to even taunt death. Because if you have Jesus Christ, if you have the salvation of Jesus Christ, then you don't even have to fear death itself, for actually to die is to gain. And none of this stuff is even remotely close to death. So if we have the Lord Jesus Christ, why would we be fearing this? We shouldn't be. I don't. It's like, whatever, man. When this stuff starts, boogieing like it is right now, that means I'm just closer to going home, being with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But if you don't have salvation, if you don't have Jesus Christ, then you got something to freak out about. And it's much worse than this technology, I'll tell you what. Because not only is there going to be the darkest days ever upon this earth, where not only is there going to be the human evil, sin level being put down, but then there's going to be the hell unleashed upon this earth on top of the judgments of God, all on the same planet. Then that's not even the worst part. After that, when you pass from this rock, if you don't have the Lord as your Savior, then you will spend eternity forever. I know those words get thrown around a lot, but literally a timeline that does not end, not only in torture and in pain and anguish, but away from God, which I believe is going to be the worst part of it. I like to look at it this way, where not only are you going to be in that position in hell of just eternity, away from God, in pain and anguish and fire and just the torture that's going on, but I like to look at it as you're sitting there watching a TV screen just over and over on repeat of all the times that you had the ability to accept the Lord and you rejected and you rejected and you rejected. And you're going to have that going on in the back of your mind the whole time that I had the opportunity to not be here, and I rejected it every single time. I rejected Jesus every single time. Now, a lot of people might be looking at me going, dude, why are you going so dark on this? Because I want people to understand, if you don't know Jesus, I don't want to sugarcoat what it's going to be like. This is what's at stake. Not this technology stuff, not facial recognition, not DARPA's weird network, none of that stuff. That, what I just described, is at stake. And there's only one way out. And it is the greatest gift anybody has ever given. And it's only found through Jesus Christ with his gospel. Simple as ABC. A is you admit that you're a sinner. The act of repentance is a change of mind. It's turning from self to Jesus. The act of repentance is going, you know what? My sin has put me in this position, and I can't save myself. And the only one who can is Jesus Christ. Because for you to truly believe in Jesus Christ as your Savior, you have to understand why you need Jesus Christ as your Savior. And so through repentance, that allows you to believe in Jesus Christ. You believe that Jesus Christ is the one and only begotten Son of God. He came down 100% man, 100% God, the God-man, the one and only. And he lived the perfect, sinless life. Again, the one and only to do so, which means he was the only one qualified to take our position upon the cross, to carry the sins of the world, and to be nailed upon the cross where we should be, where I should be. I should be there, but he took my place. And then he died upon that cross. But just as he said he would, just as he promised, just as he prophesied, and because there's power in the blood of Jesus Christ, he defeated death and rose again on the third day. For all who believe in him, for all who believe in him shall not perish. They shall not have that position in hell that I just described, but they shall spend eternity in the presence of pure holiness, pure righteousness, pure love, pure kindness, pure patience, in the presence of Jesus Christ. In pure power, you will be in his presence. And see as you call upon the Lord. Such a simple prayer. Just, Lord Jesus, I'm a sinner. And I have sinned. And I need you alone to save me, Lord Jesus. I believe that you are the one and only begotten Son of God. I believe that you live the perfect, sinless life. And I believe that you died upon the cross and you rose again on the third day. Lord Jesus, forgive me of my sins. Come into my life. Come into my heart and save me, Lord Jesus. Amen. Remember, knowing and believing are two very different things. You must believe in Jesus Christ. You must believe he is who he says he is, and he did what he said he did. Put your faith and your trust in him before it's too late. Today is the day. This minute is the minute if you do not have Jesus Christ. All right, guys, that is all I've got for tonight. Thank you for joining me today. Glad to be back, and hopefully I got back into the swing of things. But yeah, thank you guys for being here today and joining me and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so I'll just go ahead and go through the usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, subscribe, get this out to as many people as you can. It's not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people, getting people to Jesus. That's why we do this. That is the most important part, is making sure we get the gospel to everybody. We don't want anybody to perish. We don't want anybody to go to hell. We don't. Our desire is to make sure that everybody comes to the saving grace of salvation. And with how the algorithm and all that stuff works, yeah, I know we just talked about how evil it is. Unfortunately, it's all around us now. I just don't think we should voluntarily use it. But if you guys can do me a solid, like, share, subscribe, it does help get out to those who are lost, seeking answers, and hopefully we can share the good news with them. Also, make sure you guys follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. Those are my backup channels. We get booted off YouTube. We'll be back live streaming over on Rumble, so make sure you guys subscribe over there. Follow me over there. Also, Odyssey is an emergency platform there just in case things go extremely south, but it is there just in case. If you have an account, you might as well follow me there. You're not missing anything. Nothing exclusive. Don't worry. It's just there as an emergency platform. And then Telegram. I post updates, announcements, news, things, and anything in between on there. So if you guys want to keep updated, maybe get some stuff that I don't necessarily put on YouTube and things like that, make sure you guys follow me on Telegram. And then, of course, there's the WretchedWatchmen.com website. It is running right now, live streaming there. Hey, if you're watching from the website, what's going on? But yeah, that's your one-stop shop. If you don't have Telegram, but you want to make sure that you're up to date and stuff, make sure you guys bookmark that website, and I'll always update that when I can, if there's any announcements or anything like that. And then last but not least, if you guys would like to support this channel, I can't do this without you guys. This channel is not monetized. I don't make anything from ads or views or anything like that. Runs solely off of your guys' donations. So if you want to help me keep this going, partner up with me. I have those donation links down below. CashApp, Venmo, and GiveSendGo. Again, you guys are just absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful and thankful for you guys' support, your donations, your prayers, your encouragement, all of that. So thank you guys truly for that. So I'm blessed to be able to do this. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you guys for joining me. And yeah, if the Lord does not come back by Saturday, which I pray he does, I'm ready to go home. I don't know about you guys, but if not, you guys can join me right back here, same time, same place, and I'll see you guys then. All right, peace out. Maranatha.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.